This clip is sponsored by Wash and Go, and that can only mean one thing. That's right, I'm surrounded by a sea of green. By now you should know that Wash and Go is the best way to look after your luscious locks. I mean, look at what it's done for mine. Fantastic. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at some of the 600 plus unreal reviews on their Amazon page. Linda from the United Kingdom says, well, it smells lush and leaves hair smelling fresh. Fantastic, Linda. Kingdom customer JSB says, product arrived as advertised. Always very important. Always important to know that, Kindle customer JSB. And finally, my personal favourite, it's shampoo and it works for me. Absolutely fantastic there from Casey. It is indeed shampoo and also a conditioner. If you want to get your Wash and Go today, then hit the link in the description and get your bottle sent to you today. And remember, it's a shampoo and it works for me. Tonight, it's really important because tonight we're going to lose some teams that will not be participating in the World Cup. They'll be joining the likes of Norway and Ireland and others who are not going to be in the World Cup. So Turkey are heading out of the World Cup and Portugal are heading towards what could be a head-to-head with Italy on Tuesday night to see who doesn't go to the World Cup or who does. Wales 1-0 up against Austria at the moment. They're sending Austria out. North Macedonia holding out against Italy's 15 shots to 0, but it's still 0-0 between them and North Macedonia, and it's still 0-0 between Sweden and Czech Republic. We're going to lose some of those very soon. Sam says, can you chat the Netherlands lineup? We are going to be talking about who do you think will win the World Cup and why. Let me know in the chat and we'll read some of those things out for you. Italy, Portugal, if it happens on Tuesday, well, we'll be doing the watch along anyway. I think will be absolutely incredible. Absolutely huge game of football that will be. Basically, we get a World Cup knockout game before the World Cup even starts. So, Netherlands national team. I'm trying to find you a game where they played their best team. Let's have a look. This is probably quite recently. So, Sillerson in goal, Dumfries, De Ligt, Van Dijk and Blind. That is not a bad back five, is it, to be fair? Wijnaldum, De Jong and Klaassen, and then Bergwijn, Depay and Gronfeld. Remember, they've got the likes of Gravenberch as well. They've got De Roon, they've got Nathan Aki, they've got Weghorst, Koop Miners, Malen. Obviously, Donny van der Beek can come back into that team. They're an interesting... I think for the first time in a while, the Dutch actually look like they've got... I think sometimes you look at the Dutch or you look at another national team and you go, yeah, they've got 3 or 4 good players, but they haven't got a team. And I think it's about the team, it's about the players, and I think they've got the structure as well. But I think that the Netherlands side does look pretty good. I don't know whether I'd say they can win the World Cup. They've never won the World Cup, but they certainly do have something about them. And also, I think what's good about the Netherlands is they've got a really good back four. Blind, Dumfries, De Ligt and Van Dijk. That's a really strong back four. And I think in international football, your defence really is important. I mean, England, we're shit. The way that we play football is not very good under Southgate. But the reason we go deep in tournaments is because he's got a really decent defensive setup. With people like Phillips and Rice in front of a back five, we don't concede many goals. So that's what it's all about. I'll happily take that Turkish delight, Mark, says Matt Wall. Anyway, we're talking about who's going to win the World Cup. People are just asking me to go through some of the teams before we do it. So we've looked at Germany, we've looked at France, we've looked at Italy, we've looked at the Netherlands, we're obviously watching Portugal, we've looked at Brazil, we've looked at Argentina. Any other teams that you fancy me having a look at before we go through their merits? Obviously, we know how England line up. I'm trying to think if there's any other big team that we've not really taken a look at yet. We've looked at Belgium, of course, as well. We've looked at America or USA. We've looked at Spain. We've looked at Canada. Who would you say is the best African team? I know Senegal won the AFCON, but do you think that they are the best? Hi Mark, how are you? Portugal has been all over Turkey. Are you doing any more international watch-alongs? I think France are favourites again for the World Cup, says Vignesh. Yeah, so I'm doing next Tuesday, which will be the final World Cup qualifiers. And obviously I'll probably do England on Saturday at 5:30. F1 on Sunday night at 6 as well, we'll be doing that. Let's have a look at this Senegal team then, because obviously you'll know some of the players from there, but you won't know all of them. It's the funny thing is, I remember after Italia '90, I think it was Pele who might have said it, and I understand why he says it. It made total sense. Like, I think he said something like, there'll be an African nation who win the World Cup in the next 20 years. And 20 years is a long time. But actually in football, it's not. I don't think we're really near any... I don't think we're near an African side winning the World Cup. I'm not saying that they couldn't win it, but I don't think we are actually near it happening, if I'm honest. So let's have a look at... I mean, Senegal are playing Egypt. They played Egypt in the African Cup of Nations, and they're playing them in the World Cup qualifiers as well. I don't understand how that works. But Senegal's team, Mendy, Sarr, Koulibaly, Diallo, Sis, Kouyate, Mendy, Idrissa Gueye, Ismail Sarr, Sadio Mane. So they've got some good players. So basically either Egypt or Senegal are not going to the World Cup then, by the sounds of it. So we probably shouldn't be looking at them because they might not even go to the bloody World Cup. Argentina will win the World Cup. Who do you think is going to be a shocker in the World Cup? I mean, somebody just said Croatia because they did well in 2018, but they've got a very aging team, Croatia, haven't they? That's their problem. Denmark are a decent side. I thought they were very impressive in the Euros, and I would agree that they're a decent side. I think the Dutch look like they could be a bit of a dark horse. France look... I'm not going to move away from France. I think France just look like they've got a very good team. Spain, I think if they had a striker, Spain were ridiculously frustrating in the Euros without a striker. Germany, I wouldn't be surprised if they came again. I don't feel like they'll win it. I don't feel like Belgium will win it. I'd love to see one of the South American teams do well, and I think you've got to take into account the climate. I know there's air conditioning there, but I presume the climate will have a bit of an impact on the players. Ordinarily, in a tournament that's not in Europe, you'd not be foolish to predict a South American team to win it. But I just don't know whether the heat is going to have an impact on the teams, because these are air-conditioned stadia, aren't they? And I think they've got the roof closed. So I don't think it's going to be... I mean, I even remember England playing in France '98 against Tunisia, and it was hot. It wasn't in Tunisia, it was in France, and we did struggle. So I don't know whether the heat's going to be an impact on the teams anyway. Norway with Odegaard and Haaland, they're not even in it, Lewis. They didn't qualify, so they're not a dark horse for the World Cup. They're a dead horse for the World Cup because they're not in it. Michael Corleone says, I'd go for Italy or Argentina if they beat Portugal. The funny thing is, I don't know how Italy and Portugal have put themselves in this position, but if whoever gets the World Cup out of those two, I think Italy and Portugal by 1 point to sink. Let's have a look at them. We haven't done the Uruguay squad. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner to do that. You're all very welcome on the United Stand, of course. Loving your company, as always, on this big international night. Austria are losing to Wales at the moment, which means they would be knocked out if it stays the same. Turkey are losing 2-0 to Portugal, which means they would be knocked out as well. So let's have a look at the Uruguay 11, if you're interested in that. I'm just trying to find a game that they've played recently that was highly competitive. Okay, so they've recently played... let's have a look at this game where they played Paraguay. Roche in goal, Olivero, Jimenez, Godin, Araujo, Pelestri, Ficino, Bentancur, Valverde, Suarez, Nunez. I mean, they've got good players, haven't they? Aaron Barry, Canobia, Damien Suarez, Facundo Torres, Cavani. I think they'd be competitive. Have they got enough strength in depth? I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, Uruguay look decent, don't they? I tell you what, though. I always thought that... Lautaro Martinez was Uruguayan. I'll tell you who else they've got as well. Didn't mention him. The lad who plays for... Oh, no, we did say him. Nunez. Yeah, the lad who plays for Benfica. Very good striker he is as well. Always got good strikers, haven't they? Uruguay. Always produce good strikers. But I don't think Uruguay will win it. Ivory Coast. Can you have a look at Ivory Coast? I'd love to, mates. I'd love to. I find this fascinating. You know, we are talking everything the World Cup anyway, and I am excited about the World Cup. I do like the World Cup. I think it's going to be a weird World Cup with it being in around Christmas time, but a novelty value might be quite nice. Ivory Coast are actually playing England on Tuesday. I won't be watching it. Well, I probably will watch it. I'll have it on the second screen, but I'll be watching Turkey against Portugal, hopefully, against Italy. So Ivory Coast, last time out they played, let's have a look where they played a really competitive game. So yeah, they got knocked out by Egypt in the African Nations Cup. Their team was Sangare, Aurier, Bayi, Deli, Conan, Sangare, Seri, Kessie, Pepe, Haller, Gradel. Sahar obviously plays for them as well. Cornet plays for them. Yeah, they're good. The problem I think the African nations have is that they're getting better, but when you look at the depth of talent a Brazil's got or a France has got, they can't live with them. I would say that Ivory Coast is a decent team. It's like Southampton playing Man City. They're going to be the underdogs. There's no doubt that African football is getting better. There's no doubt that North American football is getting better. You could even argue that Asian football's getting better, Australian, all around there, it's getting better. Unfortunately, so is French football and German football. They're not. What I've noticed, and I've noticed it in club football as well, and I've mentioned it a few times, I think the reason that for example, the African nations are struggling is that they're now when I used to watch like Cameroon in Italia 90, they'd have 2 or 3 really good players and then 7 or 8 really average players, maybe even poor players. I think now you look at Ivory Coast and you go, they've got a good team. They've actually got a good team, but they don't have a lot on the bench. And I remember the Champions League final between PSG and Bayern Munich a couple of years ago. And I looked at the bench and I went, this is the new world. This is the new football now. It's not just about your first 11. It's about the players behind it. Ridiculous levels of quality. Almost a team on the bench that would beat most teams' first team. And we're definitely seeing that with national teams now. You look at France, their bench would beat Ivory Coast probably. So that's the problem now. Football's gone to the level where just having a good first 11 isn't good enough now because everyone's got a great first 11 and a great bench. Don't talk about Bruno, no, says King. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner, you're very welcome on That's Football. Everybody's welcome on here. Still 0-0 between Sweden and Czech Republic. Still 0-0 between Italy and North Macedonia. Path C. Obviously, we won't see the final of the Path B game or the Path A game because Ukraine and Russia, their games respectively against Scotland and Poland have been suspended until the summer. But Portugal have got a good bench, yes. I take it's who's already qualified for the World Cup was a question that we got asked, and I'll tell you this now. Let me just go there. So Serbia qualified from. It's amazing how you don't take any notice when the qualifiers are on. So Serbia qualified from Group A ahead of Portugal, which is why Portugal are here. So Portugal have only got themselves to blame. Serbia finished top of the group with 20 points. Portugal second. That's why they're here. Spain finished top of their group and Sweden finished second. So that's why Sweden are in the qualifiers. Switzerland finished top of Italy's group by 2 points. That is why Italy might miss out on the World Cup. So Serbia and Switzerland pushing Italy and Portugal into this situation. France, obviously top of their group. So Ukraine are in here. Belgium, top of their group. So Wales are in a qualifier. Denmark and pushed Scotland into a qualifier, and Netherlands pushed Turkey into a qualifier, which we spoke about before. Croatia put Russia into a qualifier, and England put Poland into a qualifier, and Germany put North Macedonia. What's happened to Romania then? Are they out? Are there some more games to be played or something? Because Romania are not through either, but I'm trying to see why have they already been knocked out, Romania? Or is there some more games tomorrow? Let's have a look. I'm confused here. I'm really confused because Romania are meant to be in a World Cup qualifier, but they're not. Maybe the chat will know. I can't see. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video because we all know only legends like videos and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching as always.